Okay, our next step is creating a JavaScript photo gallery. We are on page 289 for those of you who like to follow along. The final required task for this project is to create an interactive photo galleries that can display your client's image within a compact layout that you're designing. A JavaScript photo gallery is one of the most common ways to accomplish this goal. Rather than reinventing the wheel, so to speak, you should know that a lot of JavaScript libraries for common tasks have already been created and are available through basic internet search for little or no cost. Please respect the licenses of these libraries, though. Many times they are available free for personal use at little or no cost, but not for commercial use. In other words, anything that you are charging someone money to create. In this project, you're going to use one of those libraries to build your photo galleries. It's called Lightbox, created by Lokesh Dakar, and is a JavaScript library that displays images by filling the screen and dimming the rest of the web page. The current version, Lightbox 2, is 100% free to use for both commercial and non-commercial work, as long as you leave the developer's name, homepage link, and licensing information intact in the provided files. So this is one that can be used both in your personal web pages and also in actual commercial use if you are designing a web page for somebody else and you really like the way this works. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to attach external CSS and script files. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we are on the Galleries tab. You also need to click back on the HTML tab because we need to be on that one. In the previous stage of this project, you use tools built in Dreamweaver to add JavaScript interactivity. As you saw when you placed the tabs object, Dreamweaver automatically created links to the external JavaScript and CSS files that were required to make that object function properly. Because the Lightbox library is not part of the Dreamweaver built-in root set, you will have to manually link the page to the required files. So that's what we are going to do next. So first of all, it says to be on the galleries HTML, which we are. It also wants to make sure that we have live view active. So let's click on live view. Next, we are going to click source code. So click source code. Make sure that you've got that up on the right-hand side to show the HTML code on the right-hand side. In the code panel, place the insertion point right after the title closing tag and hit enter. And that creates a new line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the HTML insert panel, and the one that looks like a scroll, kind of about, I'd say 2/3 the way through, if you hover over it, says script. We're going to click that. It's going to open up our photography folder, and in the photography folder, what you want to do is you want to double click the Lightbox one. When you are in the Lightbox one, you are going to double click and open up the JS folder, and inside the JS folder is the Lightbox plus jQuery.min.js, which is what you want to highlight. Once you highlight it, you're going to click OK to open that and to put it in. Should have put it in. Yes, it did. You'll see script type, and it is now has been placed right after the title. In the next step, what we are going to do is we're going to go to our CSS designer panel, which is grayed out at the moment. Hang on a second. Okay, as soon as you click out of that, it lit up, and what we need to do is we need to add a CSS. So we're going to go up to the top of the CSS designer, click once over here, and it should hopefully ungray for you, and then we're going to click the Add CSS Source button and choose Add Existing CSS File, which is going to open up the Attach Existing CSS File dialog box. Make sure Link is selected and click the Browse button, which is going to once again open up our photography folder. And inside the photography folder, you're going to double click this. No, it's not in the CSS. Okay, back. It's going to be in Lightbox, I believe. Yes, click on the Lightbox folder. Click in the CSS. Inside the Lightbox folder, you will find a file called lightbox.css. You're going to highlight that and click OK, and click OK again, and bring that into what we have. You will also notice that we now have something in the page content area over on the left hand side. Let's do a galleries. Click on galleries, right click, and save all, and hopefully we have done it correctly. Okay, yes we have. If you've noticed that up here in the top, you'll see that we have the JavaScript file in, and then right below that we have the link to the lightbox.css style sheet. So both of those are in the correct position. Okay, our next step is we are going to start creating the Lightbox image elements on page 291. Create the Lightbox image elements. The Lightbox functionality requires an image element which acts as a link to open a window that displays the full image. In this exercise, we will use the image element to create two such images. Each will open in a separate Lightbox gallery. So the very first thing that we need to do is use preview size menu to change the live view of the iPhone 7 Plus size. So we're going to go down to the bottom of our document window and go back to iPhone 7 Plus size. So we have everything in the right setup. In the code pane, we're going to delete the placeholder text for the editable stuff. So we're going to go down here where it says content for the new image. Main tag goes here, and we are going to hit backspace and just have the blinking cursor between the two with the insertion point immediately after the closing tag of the opening editable marker. What we're going to do is we're going to hit enter key 4 times, which now gives us a space in between the opening and closing editable region. And then we're going to put our insertion point in the middle line of the white space, and then what we are going to do is type in figure. Okay, and click that. And close it, put a closing tag, and then we need to do figure caption. Oh, fig cap, sorry. Fig caption. Okay, do the closing and then close it, which it did. And then we need to hit backspace once and close the figure, which it did. Okay, as that area. Then what we are going to do is immediately after the figure opening, we are going to insert an image. So we will go up and insert image, which will open the image dialog box. And we want to go into the portrait one, double click on portrait, and we are going to select portrait 1. and click OK to place portrait. And down in the alt tag, we're going to type portraits. And oops, sorry about that. I will undo that. I meant to be in the alts. Okay, and also should be put in Fig captions. So we are going to put it, type portraits in Fig caption as well. Then we're going to go over and click in the CSS designer and click on the style CSS and the related style sheets at the top. And at the end of the styles, okay, which we do not have, we're going to create a new selector for figures. So we will type where it says body, well, we'll just leave it. Okay, so we will type figure and hit enter. And then while we are on it, we will go into properties and unclick show set. And we'll go into layout. And what we're going to do is go down to margin and type in 5 pixel and hit tab. We will go into padding and hit 0 pixel for the set and hit tab. We will go into width at the top here and do it as pixels, and we're going to do 150 pixels width and hit tab. And then for heights we will do, oh no, display is what they want next. So we will go down to display, which is where, there we are. And what we're going to choose for display is inline block and hit tab. And then we're going to need to create another new selector for the Fig captions. So click new selector and Fig caption. And then hit enter. And then what we're going to do for Fig caption is we are going to go into the text properties and we are going to do font weight, and we're going to make it bold and text align center to click center. And we really need to get rid of that body footer. And then let's go up and do a file, save all. Okay, and next what we are going to do is in the code panel, okay, we need to click on source code. Okay, we still are on source code in the show that we are there, and then we're going to select and copy all the code to the figure element. So where we have all of this, We're going to copy or highlight it like so and do a Control C. Then we're going to go right below it and create one line of space after the existing code, and then do a Control V and put it in again. But what we need to do is on image source, change it to dogs and dog 1. So all I have to do is highlight portraits, change it to dogs. And then where it says portrait 1, change it to dog 1. Like so. And under alts, change it to dogs. And fig caption, change it to dogs. Except what I did is change the top one, so that's an easy fix. I will cut and put it below and move this one up. Like so. And then I have them in the correct order. And the next step is in the code panel, select all the code of the 2 figures. So I'm going to start at the bottom and highlight all the way up to the top. And while I have all of those selected, I'm going to go up and click the div box, which is the first one, and it's going to open up a dialog box that's asked me how I want this div to happen. And what I'm going to select is wrap around selection in the selection menu and click OK. And that puts a div box around the 2 of those. And in this, I'm going to select the Styles CSS over on the right hand side. And I'm going to create a new class selector at the end of the CSS code. So I will make a new class, and I'm going to highlight what pops up. And now anytime you do a class, remember it has to be with a period, and it's going to be called align-center. And hit enter. And then while that is open, I'm going to click on the layout, and width I'm going to make 100%. So I'm going to double click and change that to 100% and hit tab. And then I'm going to click on the text one, and I'm going to do text align center like so. And I have written the rule. And I'm going to make sure I'm on source code, which I am. And I'm going to go into the opening div right here. Okay, and hit the space and type class and equals. And then I'm going to type in align center like so. And that aligns those 2 in the center of the div box. I'm going to go up and do a save all. And you'll see that I now have both of those centered in the middle of the box, and it looks quite nice. And that'll complete this particular lesson.